and welcome everybody. The Ballers are back for a Super Bowl Saturday night edition. We are 24 hours and 6 minutes away from the big one kicking off. Peter, Will, you boys must be looking forward to this because this is what it all comes down to. Peter?
Yeah, I think it's kind of dragged on a bit like these past 2 weeks. And I think if your team's playing in the Super Bowl and you have to wait because you have to do the media and they have to, go around, you get all of the like CBS, ESPN, they're all converging on Arizona, and it's basically have to go through that. But I was ready for this game last week, but I think the anticipation is there. It's going to be it should be an all-time great Super Bowl because I think both teams can score. One defense is better than the other, and we've got two really good
one quarterback.
QBs.
But one quarterback is better than the other.
One quarterback is better than the other. Yep. So I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup. They always say like styles make fights, and I definitely think this is one of those Super Bowls that should be entertaining, both sides of the ball. I can't wait to get on with it.
We'll discuss it a little bit more in depth in a little bit. But Peter, as my fellow presenter who doesn't have a care in the world as to who wins this game, because we know who Will wants to win, how are you looking forward to this one? Because how are you looking forward to this game? Because it's gonna be great, I feel.
I think it's gonna be a great game, and I just hope that they allow both teams to play. And also, I think one thing, this is the first time I've watched a Super Bowl and I'm truly a neutral. As in like I don't know which team is gonna win, and I like both teams equally. Like it's never happened. Like normally when it comes to Super Bowl, I normally have a team that I want to win. You guys know when it has that other guy in there, I'm always rooting for the other team. But this is the first time that I'm truly a neutral and excited for the game because both teams deserve to win in some type of way. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a great game. And if you're neutral watching it, you're just going to enjoy it just purely for the love of football, basically, if your team is not in either of those teams.
And the way I see it was last year, I had that scenario like you did. No, that you didn't, because obviously the Rams, your divisional rivals, you couldn't want them to win. But I had one of my closest friends who's a Rams fan. The person who got me into the league is a Bengals fan. So last year I had that where I didn't mind either way, who won, because I liked both teams. You know how much I gushed over Cooper Kupp and was saying he was the MVP last season. And this season, we've got number 1 seed and number 1 seed. So, and these two teams are incredible at their very best. So we'll talk about that game in a lot more detail a little bit later on. We're going to keep you guys waiting for that. But first of all, coaching hires or the lack thereof. Peter, neither of our teams, Colts or Cardinals, have selected a head coach yet. Now, I think the Colts are going through the 3rd round of interviews because it feels like it's like an interview process that you would normally have in high-level corporate where you're going to have about 6 rounds of interviews. Well, it feels like.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think by next week, both teams, the Colts and the Cardinals, should have like a head coach in place. But I think part of it is also the NFL probably spoke to both teams and said this is Super Bowl week. We don't want both of you to make or announce any coaching hires this week to take the spotlight. The spotlight has to be on those two teams. Certainly in the case of the Cardinals, I think we are hosting the Super Bowl in our stadium.
Yeah,
so
I think
kind of wanted to dedicate everything towards the Super Bowl week. Make sure you're a good host. Don't take attention away from that in aspects. But also other news that I've been reading, other rumors, is that both teams might be waiting for the Eagles OC and DC. I had your coach might be holding out for Shane Steichen, My
Yeah.
Cardinals are eyeing Jonathan Gannon. So I'll throw it back to Will a little bit, like in terms of like, do the Eagles have like a succession plan in place, say if both coordinators were to move to new teams to become head coaches? Let's say
Yeah.
next week somehow.
Yeah, for us, I think offensively, if we were to move on, it wouldn't be the end of the world because Sirianni would kind of take the helm, and like I said, he understands the system. Essentially, it's his system, so he can build around that. But I think defensively, Gannon is one of those guys that's sort of how can I say, grown into his role over a period of time, and it's essentially like his own original adaptation. I'm not sure exactly his coaching tree, but he'll be harder to replace defensively. That being said, we've got a really good roster that's probably not going to be there next year defensively. I'd probably say it's mainly going to be those guys in the trenches. We can't bring them all back, and some of those guys have signed 1-year deals. Usually,
Is Reddick on a 1-year deal or is he on a multi-year?
I don't think it's a multi. I think it's on the tail end. I'll have to check actually. Hassan Reddick.
Who?
Hassan Reddick.
Oh, it's a multi-year deal.
How many years though? I don't see.
It's about 4-year deal. He got paid. You guys paid.
What is this guy, man?
Yeah, 3-year, $45 million. So he's only got 2 years.
Wait, Hassan Reddick? Is that Hassan?
Yeah,
Reddick?
he's only on a 3-year deal, so it's not a big one.
Yeah, but he's still there for the next 2 seasons. It's not like you're gonna lose him after he has such a huge year.
Oh, sorry, not Hassan Reddick. What's his name? Quinn. Robert Quinn.
Quinn,
yeah.
No, but
Robert Quinn's old, man. I was like, this guy's 32. No way it's a multi-year deal. But yeah.
No, but it is because you traded for him on a multi-year contract.
So he's gonna have to be there. Admits he was angry about how the Bears traded. Yeah.
Because the Bears gave him a multi-year contract after he had 18 sacks last year, and then they signed him to like a multi-year deal. I mean, I think you're talking about guys like the ones that you brought in, like Ndamukong Suh, those type of guys. Javon Hargrove is a free agent, so he might move on. He's one of your DTs. But you guys are stuck in the trenches anyway. You have amazing depth. So even if we lose some veterans, you still have talented pieces that could still come in and give you guys a good performance. I mean, your O-line and D-line, you probably have the best depths in the trenches in the NFL right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've got the Jordan Davis. So for us, I think this was, very rarely do you draft a guy like that and you basically sit him and have him coming off the bench. Now he's probably going to be able to contribute. He's had a year to develop, adjust to the NFL speed and power. So like I said, I was expecting Fletcher Cox to not be there this year. So for him to come back and almost mentor,
all right.
Davis has been great.
So shall I name your free agents at the end of the season? Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, Jason Kelsey, James Bradbury, Andre Dillard, Somalu, Kaiser White, TJ Edwards and Duncan Sue, Linval Joseph, Boston Scott, Zach Pascal, Miles Sanders, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, which obviously he's on a rookie deal, so you're going to have to...
I think we bring him back.
Yeah,
we're definitely bringing him back.
But it's more of you have to pay him.
So here's the thing. I mean, which of those pieces do you see? So now, bear in mind, well, before you answer this question, right? If your team were to be successful on Sunday, right, all the values of all the players, including even the ones that don't play full time, it goes significantly up. Because when you're a free agent that's just won the Super Bowl, you are a hot cake. Your agent's gonna get you the best money on the market, period. And you probably get market setting deals.
It's only with the older ones. It doesn't make a difference, I don't think, because obviously age catches up as well.
But teams just feel like you can perform. Like we've seen it before. Like, even though they're the older guys, like Fletcher Cox, for instance, right? If he was to win his second Super Bowl right now, there's nothing saying that he can't get a 30, maybe $40 million deal on the market with huge money on the guarantee side. Because I think when teams bring in a Fletcher Cox, you're not bringing in because one, yes, performance, but I think it's so much more than performance. You're looking at how he's going to help your local team, how he's going to be a mentor to those guys. Like, think about when Arizona brought in JJ Watt. It wasn't because of just how good he can play. It was because of how he can help and motivate and train some of the youngsters and mentor some of like that kind of
Fletcher
thing.
Cox can like still produce, so I think he can definitely still play in this league, but it's if he wants
But
to.
he won't be at the elite that he used to be. But you're bringing him for more.
Do you know how? But he's 32. It's not like he's falling off a
Yeah,
cliff.
I know, but it's just because we took Jordan Davis to sort of take over his role. We're surprised we managed to get Fletcher back this year because we figured he's probably going to walk and sign like big deals somewhere else, and I think us paying him would be a dream come true because obviously he has earned it. I'd like for him to retire an Eagle, but realistically, to free up more space, like if you have to tell me, I'd rather. I mean, Fletcher Cox is amazing, but Chauncey Gardner kind of. We've always struggled. We've always struggled in our secondary, especially the safety, and we've seen what happened down the stretch. Remember after he got injured, those last 3 games we played. Like our defense was getting ruptured. And as soon as he comes back, it changes everything because now you've got the front, the back end complementing the front. Like he cleans up everything back there. So I think they definitely try and sign up Chauncey Gardner to like a long-term deal. I don't know why the Saints let that guy out of there. That's insane to me.
That's something that you've mentioned a few times over this year. Right, getting back to Colts, as far as I'm concerned, well, we know that one of the candidates has been told he has been ruled eliminated, and that is Brian Callahan, offensive coordinator of the Bengals. It looks like, and so has Wink Martindale, defensive coordinator of the Giants. Yeah, Callahan was also up for the Cardinals job, but I believe he's out of that running, so it looks like he's out of both runnings. Now, yeah, it's going to be interesting. As long as one candidate does not get the job, I'm happy.
Yeah, you guys, I mean, I've got a question for you guys. Like, how do you guys feel about your team sort of making this choice so late? Like, obviously, the hot candidates, do you feel as though you perhaps missed out on guys if you were perhaps a bit more
I think they're going through...
Or do you feel as though there's a plan?
There are two, like, there's... So Sean Payton talked about it, actually. He said that teams are now going through a much longer... Generally are going through a much longer process.
Yeah.
Which can only be a good thing, actually. Really, because it's more thorough.
Yes, absolutely. I think with my Cardinals, I can only say, like, from our owner's perspective, it's kind of like since Bruce Arians, we've had 2 coaches, or is it 3? No, 2 coaches since Bruce Arians, and he hasn't worked well in the last couple of years. So it's like trying to make the right decisions. So even if you have to go through a whole host of candidates in order to come to the right guy that you feel is a cultural fit for your organization, that's what you're gonna do. And I think teams are generally taking their time because I think the NFL wants a period of stability as well. Remember, when coaching candidates and all of these such come about, as much as owners have the lead and they search for the right candidate, they also take perspective and direction from the league. So other owners might be like, look, take your time and do this search properly because we don't want you to keep firing coaches because we want a period of stability in terms of coaching within the NFL, because firing of coaches have been on an uptick in the last couple of years. So they might be looking at some period of stability in that regard from the NFL owners as well. And I think it's about trying to find the right coach and the right fit. Although I don't know if you can confirm these rumors for me, Dilly, that one of the issues with your Colts, I think I heard, was Esther really likes Saturday. This
is the second rumor that I was going to say. This is what I was talking about. The joke is that they're putting 15 candidates and saying, look, these guys have so much more capability than Saturday. Pick one of them, just any one of them. Come on.
Yeah.
And then do you know what people have been putting on Twitter? Announcing Pat McAfee as head coach of the Indianapolis Colts because he has less coaching experience than Jeff Saturday.
Wow.
Like, come on, you've got to have to. The memes have got to be made as well. So we understand.
I gotta say, I like what Pat McAfee is doing for my Cardinals now because I think.
Did you hear about McAfee getting sued?
Oh yeah,
him and Shannon.
That's hilarious, man. He's got no legs to stand on, really. Defamation only works if none of that is true. So that's why they're all just kicking up their feet, being like, I mean, whatever. And also, I think McAfee's got, like, I saw his recent YouTube video. And a lot of the stuff they missed out was that he said allegedly. In the end of the day, he's sports.
The way he says was like he says this, and then he goes allegedly. He's very like they understand you need to say that, otherwise you've got lawsuits coming out.
Basically saying this is truth, and you open yourself up for this. And he's been saying that the whole time. I think any news that comes out allegedly this has happened, so he can always fall back on that. But I think this is just one of those things.
The culture in America whereby every opportunity they get, they try to sue you, even if it's not going to go anywhere, just to try and see if they can deter you or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to go anywhere. But McAfee had AQ Shipley, and they're talking about how the Cardinals have very, very outdated facilities, and I hope the pressure that can cause the owner to upgrade the facilities.
We saw what they did for the Bengals. That pressure.
Yeah, I want the same thing to happen for my Cardinals because it's mind-boggling when I think about it. How do you know that actually, college football teams, the elite programs, have better locker rooms than NFL
That's
teams?
crazy
which
to
is
me.
Shocking.
It's insane. Look at the Bengals.
Have you seen like the money that flows through college football is insane as well. We know that. Hence
I know
why
it's insane, but here's the thing.
Obviously, these guys are billionaires. They're all billionaires, exactly. So there's no excuse.
And NFL is meant to be the highest of football as we know it. Even though college does have money, NFL is the highest of the highest. That's like the highest level.
Yeah,
so I think level. You need to have the best facilities all around.
I think part of the reason why college has as much money is they've gotten away with not paying the players for so long. So if you think about it, imagine if NFL teams didn't have to pay the players, they would pocket the rest. So of course they'd have.
Well, then it wouldn't be a professional league. It just,
but then it would be a professional.
Now,
no, but also I think you got a good point, Will, because in colleges, if you have great facilities, it could sway certain prospects to your team. Like it's part of the recruiting tactic.
But that's even with universities over here.
Yeah,
to a lesser degree. Because people go to Loughborough University because they've got world-class facilities. They've got the best.
Absolutely.
No, I to be honest, I wouldn't even say our old uni had. Aside from that indoor athletics track.
Compared to Loughborough, yeah.
Actually, no, it has improved because actually, say for example, if you're a high-level rugby player now, you go to Brunel University because Ealing Trailfinders have that link.
Yeah,
which is a professional team.
Yeah, they're professional.
Which is a professional team.
I've actually went to Ealing Trailfinders. I actually went there. No, they do have that link. I think they're
and the facilities are insane now. Yeah, the facilities are insane now with regards to that specific thing. So I can see how that is, like how that is in America. All right, now we are going to go to the NFL honors. Now, did we have our picks from earlier on this season as to who will get what? I think I saved it somewhere. Now, I'm just going to go and get that.
Yeah, while Dilly does that, Pete, I was going to say, the NIL deal stuff is insane. Like, because what's happening now is players are signing, like, let's say they play 4 years, top quarterbacks are getting $10 million, assuming they play until their senior year at a select school. So if you're like a fringe player, that's realistically, you're a good college QB, but you're probably not going to get drafted high. It might be worth you staying all 5 years and getting that 10 million before moving on to the league. And I really hope, like, I reckon running backs as well, they might decide to stay. Like, if you're a top running back, don't get me wrong, you probably make maybe 5 million up until your senior year. And let's be real, if you're a back, you're probably going to get drafted. Even if you're a top back in college, you're going in the 5th, 4th round or something like that. So this might be an option. You know, you're probably, yeah.
All right, so I have found the document.
Like
I have
fourth,
found the
fifth
document.
round, you didn't even say third round, like just to give him a bit of a prop. Like
Third
fourth,
round,
fifth
second,
round,
third
like,
round.
All right, boys, I have found the document.
Yeah.
It includes also Finn. Obviously, Finn was on our prediction stream. So, first of all, our prediction for the Super Bowl matchup. All 4 of us put the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Was this week? What week was this?
Preseason.
Preseason, yeah.
Wait, did I really put the Bills?
Yes, you did.
No one would
About
blame
KC?
you for picking them, though.
You put
Yeah, no one
Buffalo
would blame
Bills.
you
It
for-
says here Buffalo Bills versus the Green Bay Packers.
Oh wow, I was totally wrong then.
Hey, no, you weren't
No,
as
you're
wrong
not
as me
wrong.
and Will. We put the Rams.
Oh,
But then 2 injuries did happen, and that just tore apart the entire season. When Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford go down, you're not going to get to anywhere near the playoffs. And Finn had put the Bucks because of Brady, but the Bucks vastly underachieved, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of people. Now, MVP. So, Patrick Mahomes won MVP for the second time. And I think deservedly so, because at the end of the season, I think purely because Hurts got injured, and then when he came back, he was a bit gimpish. He wasn't great.
Yeah.
That basically lost him the MVP because Mahomes carried on being very good.
yeah. It would have definitely come down to the runnings. If Hurts was healthy for that amount of time. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not mad if he does lose to anyone. I'm not surprised. You know, I think we have the future GOAT coming through in Mahomes. So all of Brady's records will get broken. Maybe not the silverware, but definitely the records.
And so
And
if
he's
I look
gonna
at
do it in less years as well. Just watch
Yeah.
that.
if you look at I think there was a graph that I don't know if I put it in our group, but it basically showed the trajectory of where Mahomes is.
Oh yeah, you put it in our WhatsApp group, and he's at an insane level compared to all
He's
the others.
basically at the level that Peyton was, right? But he was out from he was peak Peyton, but at the start of his career, like literally from him getting into the team. Right. So our
But
predictions.
1 second. I'm gonna say something quick. I'm gonna kind of put a bit of clarification for our listeners in the sense that as great as we talk about Mahomes, and he's gonna probably be in a good conversation when it's all said and done, we also have to take into account the situations that he was drafted into when you put it in comparison with Peyton, because Peyton was resurrecting a dead franchise, and I think we don't give enough credit to number 1 overall pick quarterbacks and the work that they do to resurrect a franchise, because you literally go into the worst team with nothing, right? Whereas Mahomes went into a playoff team, they already had pieces there. The system was already established. Yes, he also played great to elevate things, but would Mahomes be on this historic pace if you say he was drafted number 1 overall pick? It could be
To
a
the
little bit
Jags.
different. So I'm just trying to put a little bit of context there. But he's still.
Do you know
great
how many
nonetheless.
number 1 pick quarterbacks have won the Super Bowl?
Not a lot. I wouldn't
Not
say
a
a
lot.
lot. Peyton, Jim Plunkett, if I remember.
So
I don't know who else.
TB12, Terry
He was
Bradshaw,
not one overall pick. Oh, Terry Bradshaw was. Okay, yeah.
Jim Plunkett,
Mhm.
John Elway,
Okay, that's 3.
Troy Aikman,
4.
Drew Bledsoe. Technically, he won a ring because he was the backup.
Yeah.
We don't really count that. He didn't play a part in it.
Technically, he won the ring.
He's still, yeah, technically.
We don't count that. We
Peyton.
want someone that actually played. So
Peyton,
that's 5. That's 4.
Eli.
That's 5.
Technically, this is another one because he was a backup. David Carr. So we won't count that.
him. All right, let's
And-
count the main ones. Okay, that's 5, right? In NFL history, in like the 100 year of NFL, do you see how low the number is?
Oh, no, wait a minute. Matthew Stafford, because this article was written before, so Matthew Stafford as
Okay,
well.
so number 6. So it shows that being drafted number 1 doesn't necessarily mean that you end up winning a Super Bowl in your career. The odds are so low. Being able to do it as the first QB picked.
It just means that getting that
You've
first
got a higher
first
mountain to climb.
yes, exactly. You've got a higher
You've got to
mountain to
overcome a
climb.
bad franchise. Got to overcome a bad franchise that's picking it in that position. And then you just got to hope that you've got the right organization as well. Because talent can go so far, man.
Yep. I remember a couple of years ago, Colin Coward said something that if I was a quarterback, I wouldn't necessarily want to perform well at what you call it, the combine and stuff to go number 1. I would want to go to like the middle of the first round.
Yeah.
Because I'll not be going to a good situation.
But I think teams know if you're tanking your own score intentionally. Like they get a feel, like they interview these players 1-to-1 and they see like, most teams ask like, how do you feel about us drafting you first overall? And there's your opportunity as a player to just be honest. Like, look, I'm not going to be happy because, to be honest, your organization's kind of bummy. Like, players these days aren't necessarily going to do that. It might raise up red flags. But if you look back in the day, Deion Sanders was like, look, like you're talking about drafting me, but you're not going to get a chance, So either you pay the price, come up and get me, or don't even bother. I'm not going to do this test. I'm not going to be available, So, if they don't take them, I guarantee you that if certain guys are available, like if like a CJ Stroud is available, and for example, the Dallas Cowboys can take him, of course, they pull the trigger there and then, even if they have Dak Prescott. That's just an example. So it's just one of those things. It's up to the players to say, look, I don't want to play for your franchise. They could draft him, but remember, the player's got to sign the contract. And if he chooses not to sign it, then you've basically wasted a draft pick. It's like in baseball, they drafted Kyler Murray, right? It was the Oakland A's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was a risk they took. He didn't sign that contract, meaning they wasted a draft pick.
He actually did.
Happen. He didn't sign?
He actually did, but the situation was he chose to play football, so he gave him their money back.
He gave him the money back.
They gave him like a $10 million signing bonus. Fortunately for him, he didn't spend a single dime of that money, so he returned a check back to them.
I think he was sensible enough not to spend a single dime
not to
of that
spend
money.
it and have to pay it back. Yeah, but I think he knew that he'd make that money back anyway if he was the first overall pick.
yeah,
it's not really
exactly.
much of a deal.
So I think when he knew that there's a high possibility that Arizona's going to pick him, he was like, I'm going to play football and I'm going to send your money back. Plus, I'm sure Oklahoma, he had already been paid some sort of money to play football for Oklahoma behind the scenes. We all know that. So he didn't need to spend that $10 million.
So yeah, it's always a risk whenever you draft a guy because he might not sign. That's why we see like at the end of like I think rookie minicamp, we get those photos of all the rookies they drafted signing. That's because even though they were drafted, they
still haven't signed the line.
So you always run that risk.
Okay, so MVP. Do you remember who your picks were for MVP?
I think I picked Kyler Murray, did I?
Yeah, you did. But you went home pick.
I can't remember who I picked. I think I had.
You and Finn were so well off Because this
Yeah.
guy only gives food
Who they
poisoning.
pick?
The man who gives food poisoning.
Wait, who gave?
Oh, wait. No, don't tell me. Did I pick Russ?
You and Finn picked Russ.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's a massive.
Well, I
That's
say
a
because he
massive
can't
doo-doo
cook.
for prediction. But I think he fooled everyone this season, man. I think even the analysts were like, Denver's a Super Bowl competitor right now. They could win it all. Like, I don't think anyone thought
Well,
the collapse would be like that.
we didn't.
All
We
of you
didn't.
bought into the hype.
I bought into it, man. I bought in it all the way because I saw what's his name? The former defense head coach. Who was it? Something Fox, was it?
John
Former
Fox.
defensive coordinator, John Fox. He had a crazy defense. They had weapons on offense. I thought that team was ready to go. And Russell Wilson was just going to be an easy 1-2 layup. They're going to be
Just it
And
was
it
far
just-
from the case.
crashed and burned. So it's just one of those things. I think not just myself, but journalists, analysts, everyone kind of whiffed on Denver. Like it's just one of those situations, man.
All right, I picked
But,
Josh Allen,
mean-
so I was far off the mark because I don't
You
think
were.
he was.
Okay,
Yeah,
hold
but
on.
I mean, that was a
Should we
possibility.
segue and talk? Since we're talking about Russ, should we quickly talk about the Pay and Russ dynamic?
Yeah, we'll quickly touch up on that because so he was questioned. So Sean Payton was questioned about having personal coaches in the facility, and it's like that never happened with me at the Saints, so it's not going to be happening at the Broncos. It's only going to be the staff who are employed by the Denver Broncos in the facility, and I don't see anything wrong with that. If you want to go see someone else, you've got to go outside the facility to go and have that happen. It's a bit like
Yeah.
how
Team 3.
Brady had his guy had his own office down the corner. Because if you want to do something, then that's how it's going to be.
But-
So I don't see a big drama in that. That's just he's going to have to adapt. Sean Payton is a Hall of Fame coach. You've just got to.
He has the
Deal with
cachet. You can't really step to
I
him
agree.
because you know what I mean. It's almost like you're looking at each other eye to eye. In fact, some would say Sean Payton is looking slightly down on Russ. You know what I mean? And no one's really surprised by
No,
that.
he's the head coach.
He-
Everything
He's
stops
the head
with him.
coach. He's the Hall of Fame head coach. I mean, Russell Wilson's reserve
I mean, one of
parking
the things
spot.
I've
I
heard-
think that's also gonna be something that's gonna disappear.
All right, Peter.
I mean, I've also heard through. Okay, there's that issue, right? And I've also heard that, which, well, he hasn't said anything to that effect, and he's not. I think Russ is the quarterback for the next 2 seasons at least.
Well, from the
But
money
I've also
perspective,
heard
they
that-
can't afford it.
Yeah, they can't. I've also heard that he took the job in spite of Russ being the quarterback. But I think what Sean Payton is hoping to do is that with a defense and a stronger run game, hopefully they can be able to get Russ back to how Russ used to be. But well, I mean, let's just I'm believing and hoping that it works, because if Payton gets there and it doesn't work in, like, let's say 2 seasons,
Does-
do you think they've given Payton some sort of free rein to make a switch in 2 years if it doesn't work?
Okay, let me put it this way. At the moment, would you say Russell Wilson is in the Hall of Very Good,
Yeah.
right? He's
Yeah.
never won a Super Bowl, but he's in the Hall of Very Good,
This
right?
year's performance has put him there into the Hall of Very Good.
Right? Now, if he can't resurrect his career, he I don't think he makes I don't think he makes the Hall of
Hall
Fame.
of Fame. Yeah, no, that is
No,
an honest.
he wouldn't.
Yeah, he
I
wouldn't.
think he very well knows this might be his last chance, kind of like saloon in a way, because the thing is, here's the thing. Okay, we get it like last year, his last season with Seattle, right? He was injured, so that skews his numbers a bit. But
Mhm.
I'm really looking at his season before, to go from 40 touchdowns to 13 picks, all the way down to 16 and 11. I mean, quarterbacks numbers decline, but they don't decline that much, if that makes sense. As in, like, so everybody's hoping that this past season was an anomaly for Russ. As in, like,
we saw glimpses of his good play at the end of the season once the coaching change had effectively been happened. So we're going to hold our thought on that because we don't know where it's going to go. Right, moving back to the awards. Offensive Player of the Year, Justin Jefferson.
deserves it. Absolutely,
deserved.
crushed it this year.
And of all the picks that we made, because we made for all of the MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, etc., how many of all the picks, so if we put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, out of 32 picks that we made, so 8 each, how many of them were correct? Obviously, it's a stab in the dark, but how many of them were correct?
None.
One.
Just under, yeah. I was going to say just
Which
under
one?
3.
One person picked Justin Jefferson for Offensive Player of the Year.
It wasn't me.
Or was it you?
It was me. Look, victory lap. Way!
Way to toot your own horn, yeah?
Yeah.
I had to toot my own horn. That's the only time I've ever got a prediction right of
Yeah,
that,
I mean-
that from the start of the season to the end. But
What made you pick Justin Jefferson? Because, I mean, we all know he's great. Let's not pretend, but
No, but I think
a lot of things
Offensive
have to
Player
go
of the
right
Year
with
has been
organization.
the way I see it, Offensive Player of the Year is basically the non-quarterback player offensive position, offensive award. You can't get the MVP,
Yeah.
so they're going to get the Offensive Player of the Year. It's
Okay,
very
yeah, no,
rare
that's
that
fair.
unless there's
quarterback
somebody
wins both.
like a quarterback who is they're two quarterbacks who are completely and utterly lights out, and one person's got to win Offensive Player of the Year and one's got to win the MVP. Then I understand that, but generally it's going to go to more of a position player. That's what I feel. So that's why.
Yeah.
And to be honest, all of us put wide receivers.
Yeah.
Will
I kind of
went with a
agree
home
with
pick.
Liverpool.
Will went with a home pick. Peter went with Devontae Adams,
Oh yeah, I thought he was
and
gonna.
Finn went with Jamar Chase. And because
Yeah.
of the number of mouths that Cincy had to
Do you
feed,
think it's slowly becoming who's the best wide receiver each particular year? But granted, all the receivers have deserved
I think
it. because they
I
performed
don't
It's
think
year
that's
by
a
year.
ca-
It's
I
year
think
by
it's
year with
because
that
running
position,
backs
yeah.
haven't been. Nobody's been like. Well, Derrick Henry won it, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he did a couple of years ago, but I think the last 2 seasons has been wide
Yeah, but
receivers, and I think,
if
but
you
then
look
they've
at-
deserved because they've been thoroughly outstanding. They put up ridiculous numbers.
I think that's the case. So
Josh Jacobs as well. Could have been.
well,
a
he was the
strong
great.
candidate.
He won the what they've renamed the Jim Brown Award because he's for
Oh
the
yeah,
highest
for the
rusher.
leading rusher.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still kind of mad with what happened with Cooper Cup. Only because deep down inside, I kind of feel. I mean, you won't see another season. We'll be lucky to see another season like that from a wide receiver.
Never say never.
So for him to do
it shows
all that,
how
and
it shows how
still-
difficult that was.
and for him to do that and not get the MVP, I think even right now, journalists are looking back like, I mean, we're seeing QB numbers that are great again,
But if
but
you
we
if
may
you-
never see that again.
no,
So,
do you know what it is? If you look at how the Rams were this year, as soon as
Yeah.
Cooper Cup went down, you saw how he was the most valuable player.
Literally, yeah.
But
That's
that's
gonna
in
be one.
yeah, that's
gonna
going to be
where
one.
they look back and
They had the
think that, man,
opportunity to.
we should have given him that.
All right, defensive player of the year. Now, if we look at the voting for this,
Micah,
I did not
How
get
do you
a
feel
single
about
vote.
it?
But you know what? His response was great.
Yeah.
It's not a snub, he said.
No, but actually, okay. So I get
He's
what
just
you
going to
mean
be even
by-
better.
I think
Yes,
the
I
voters
think-
were
I
kind of
think-
petty, because they saw.
No, they weren't
You
paid.
think?
No.
No, but I don't think they were. I think because here's the reason why he didn't get a single vote, because I think one of the things that I think Mike has gonna himself work through this offseason is that he knows now you gotta find a way to beat the double teams. Even when teams single you out, you gotta find a way to be productive. Like Bosa, for instance, right? I think Bosa won it because he deserved it. His play warranted. He led the league in sacks, but also because Bosa had the ability to be able to play both sides. So if the left tackle is stout today, I'm gonna go over to the right tackle and get my sacks that way. If the right tackle is stout, I'm going over to the left tackle and get my sacks. I might get a couple of inside sacks. Kind of like you gotta be a bit more dynamic. And I don't think Micah was necessarily that dynamic, especially in the crime time games, and I think he needs to also stay off social media a little bit, because the guy talks a bit too much.
Yeah, I think he understands that, to be honest, he is the best player on the Dallas Cowboys. And he understands that he's the face of that team. So he's definitely built up his confidence. It's definitely built up his confidence. And I think he started talking a bit too much towards the tail end. And that's why I brought up the fact that perhaps,
I don't think it made a difference.
I don't think it made a difference. But
and the reason why, if you look at the votes, 46 out of 50 was for Nick Bosa for first place.
Nearly unanimous.
Yeah.
It shows how you look at Hassan Reddick, he had 2 votes. And I think the reason why he had so little was, as a unit, they were so destructive.
Yep.
It's hard to shine when an entire unit is so destructive.
10 sacks.
Exactly. So Quentin Williams, Chris Jones getting a single vote each, I can understand that. Now, if we look at our predictions, I picked TJ Watt. Obviously, he got injured. That pretty much ended his ability to become Defensive Player of the Year back-to-back. Will and Peter both put Micah. And Finn put Aaron Donald. And obviously Aaron Donald pretty much got injured and the team was... Yeah. So that was that. Now, going to the Rookie of the Year awards, the New York Jets won both Offensive Rookie and Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
you are a researcher, Dilly. Was that the first time in NFL history has happened before?
What, on the same team?
I'm not sure.
Might be.
I'm purely going off what Ari Mirov, because I'm using his Twitch timeline as to
well, basically,
got what.
If that's the first time in NFL history, those 2 guys just bought the Jets GM another 2 extra seasons as the GM, because that is a huge achievement on the players, because they first played excellent and they won it down the end. I think, yes, you could have argument with Garrett Wilson, maybe there might be other candidates, but no doubt Sauce is the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah. Sauce was amazing. Yes, the Seahawks DB also played very well this year, but Sauce was another
third time in history.
Okay.
The 1967 Lions, 1967 Lions, and the 2017 Saints.
Who was in the 2017?
Yes, that was the Lattimore and Kamara, wasn't it? It was Lattimore.
Lattimore and Kamara. Yeah, correct.
Yes, the Saints knocked that draft out of the park too. Their rookies that year came in and they played excellently well. But credit to the Jets, they have 2 cornerstone pieces to build off of. Garrett Wilson sounds like he's here to stand. I think he's going to get even better in his second year.
It's going to be interesting who the quarterback's going to be. That's the thing.
Top 10 QB. It's still Zach, man. Zach's still going to turn this around. Trust me.
Are you sure? Do you think that's going to be the case?
Mate.
We've got all off season to talk. We've got all off season to talk about this, so we will continue that on. But
I'm not talking about physically.
Nathaniel Hackett's gonna hack it. He's about to turn Zach into A-Rod. You heard it here first.
I mean, if he does that, then hats off to him. He'll get another head coaching job just off that. But,
Yeah, he will. So
he
if
will.
we look at our picks, so me and Peter had Olave. Now Olave was
close. He
was
had a
great.
good year,
He was
though. He
great.
had a very
he
good
was
year.
great, but
Really good.
with the team
He was great.
being just completely
He just
irrelevant.
didn't have consistent QB play, but he was still
Yeah.
able to produce. We know that he can play in this league and he can play at a high level. You know, they've got a guy there that they can depend on.
Will had Drake London.
Yeah, I mean, we saw flashes, but that team wasn't really going anywhere. They didn't even have a real signal caller either. So it wasn't going to happen, you know, but we see the potential. Drake London can do damage. We saw the flashes, but yeah.
What's that you got down there, Dilly? That looks nice.
It's an Oreo milkshake. It's
Oh, don't tell me,
Yeah.
man.
That's enjoying.
can't complain with that. With a metal straw because my brother got given a metal straw by his work. It came in like
Actually, those things last forever,
like
man.
a
Those
felt
things last
pouch
a
and
long time.
everything.
Yeah, those
Well, they're
things
metal,
last
so
forever. Yeah.
Wow, they're treating them to something nice.
I still got my mind.
although that tastes of Snickers, not of Oreo, but okay. Because anyway, right. So we both put and Ben put Jahan Dotson, and I don't think QB play wasn't consistent enough for the Commanders for him to even get to being that close. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I put Kayvon Thibodeau. That's kind
Had
of
his
like
moments.
he had his moments, but I don't
his
think it was quite to that top echelon ability. The closest of all of us was Finn with Aiden Hutchinson,
Yeah,
because that was a home pick from him, but then Aiden Hutchinson was on the short
played
list.
really well.
He played
As
really well.
advertised. Yeah, he was as advertised. I probably think he was the safest pick that draft, and he showed it. You know what I mean? It was everyone expected him to be who he was, and he played up to that. So
All right, and then Will, you had Jermaine Johnson, and Peter had Jordan Davis. So
Jermaine Johnson was Jets, right? Jets as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jets defensive
So you got the
line.
team
Florida State Seminoles.
Will got the team right, just the wrong player.
Just the wrong
He's
player.
the wrong player.
Yeah, he kind of had the look of someone that was really bendy as an edge rusher. So I figured, maybe he slept. He looked athletic, but he can still grow into that. But obviously, that rookie season is gone. So we'll see what he can do next year.
Comeback Player of the Year. Now, this was one of the closer, not as close. So obviously, the closest vote was Offensive Rookie of the Year because the person who had the most first place votes didn't win because he had less second. But it was like a first, second, third, and then it's like point system. You tot it up that way. But if we look at how the voting went for this, Comeback Player of the Year obviously was voted as Geno Smith. He had 28 of the 50 first place votes, with Christian McCaffrey as second. Now, what some people have been saying is that the NBA has a comeback player and a most improved player. Two different awards in their award ceremonies. Whereas the NFL has it all in one, basically.
Yeah.
I think it's time the NFL adopted that.
Yeah.
In a sense that for me, what I understand is that if you to win comeback player of the year, you have to come back from something. Normally, that's injury. You have to come back from a huge injury, really, because it doesn't have to players that have come back from injury and performed spectacularly well for the following year. Geno is more like the most improved because he didn't come back from injury necessarily. Yes,
he came back from riding how many years on the bench. That's what it was.
Yeah,
exactly. But I always say this though. People need to understand. Like when he's sitting on the bench, he's improving. It's not like it's not. all backup quarterbacks, that's your time to improve. Especially if you're not playing, you're improving
There's
your
no
you're
pressure,
improving your
yeah.
craft. You get what I'm saying?
So really, I got stolen of a second correct pick then. Is that what you're saying, Peter? Because only one person put
Yes, you did.
CMC.
I
Because only
agree.
one person put
Yes.
CMC.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Because yes. I think CMC would have been a much deserved win instead of Gino. And not to take away anything away from Gino, but I think Gino's more like the most improved line, and CMC truly came back from the injury and still was CMC.
He wasn't really on anyone's radar. I think Gino being comeback player of the year, I mean, usually
I think he was so
there's
off
an
your radar
expectation.
that was a comeback. That was,
Yeah.
if you think of it in that way, it was a comeback from Gino.
Yeah,
If you think
I
of like
guess,
he
but no one
came
really
back from the
expected him.
wilderness. He came back from
Yeah.
the wilderness basically.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah,
that
no
he came
one's-
back like it wasn't like he was a back. It was he was so far out of relevancy that
Yeah.
he came back.
He just appeared out of nowhere. But I think, this is for example, echoing on what Pete said, like most improved player, for example, what if Zach Wilson comes back and actually shows progress? I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, but let's say he does.
I
then
don't think that's a
the
comeback of
kind
player of the year
award.
because he's in his rookie deal. That's not a comeback.
Yeah, that's the most improved guy. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
they should definitely have that award, like a 2-horse thing there for sure. And I think it just gives people more accolades to hand out that are valid, so.
All right, coach of the year. I'm going to name our predictions first. Peter, who did you predict for coach of the year?
What did I predict? I don't think it was a homer pick though.
It was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh no, but that was if Kyler had won MVP. That's
Yeah, but you
was-
you went Homer and
Oh yeah, but the reason why I said that is because
you doubled down. You doubled down there.
Didn't
Peter?
hold back at all.
No, and I think if Kyler had won
MVP, then he would have been
then there's
coach
no
of the year.
doubt.
Yeah, that would be the case. Me and Will picked the same guy, and there was a trajectory that he could have been coach of the year, and then concussions put an end to that. We both put Mike McDaniel. He was in the conversation up until the concussions happened.
Yeah.
Once those concussions happened, it was basically taken out of his
Yeah.
hand. And Finn put
And I mean,
Sean
he was
McDermott.
right there.
And have you ever known of a head coach to have taken the team from the first pick to the divisional round and not be named head coach of the year?
I don't
I
think
don't
I
think
have.
so, but there probably have
No.
been somebody.
Well, it was this year. Because Dougie P wasn't head coach of the year. But to be honest, Daboll was deserving as well, because if you
Yeah.
look at who he had from a personnel standpoint, to get where he got is insane. And I think that's what it was, is the Jags had the personnel, but they didn't have the coach. Right? They had the personnel in
Yeah.
various positions, but they didn't have the coach. They got the coach, and you look at their trajectory now. With the Giants, they had literally one position player. That was it on the offense. You had Danny Dimes, who was serviceable, but it was Saquon or nothing else. And he made do with all these wide receivers who were no names.
Yeah, the hallmarks of a good coach is someone that can take someone else's used car, and everyone thought there was nothing really there except maybe one guy. Like I said, like comparing to my Eagles, for example, a lot of people said that the only person that would start on the Eagles for the Giants is Saquon, essentially. And he took that car and was able to get what everyone thought was just not possible. You know, you rehabilitated Danny Dimes into a serviceable NFL quarterback that can win games for you. You reinvigorated that run game. The defense played better. You found a way to win games considering you were very one-dimensional. And he did that for the whole season. We're not talking about 1 or 2, 3 games. He kept on surprising teams week after week after week and stealing wins that they had no business in taking. Like, we saw it firsthand, you know, when we went to watch the Green Bay game. You know, we thought, you know, Green Bay was going to win. It was practically a home game for them. But even right at the end, no one could believe it. It was like they were right there. And then the next thing you know, Giants have the lead. Oh, the game's over. But for the whole game, it looked like Green Bay were going to walk away with the win. But somehow, you know, they built a culture with the help of Brian Daboll, and he's instilled like a winning culture on that team. You know, so I think it's well deserved for him, 100%.
All right. Hall of Fame. We had 2 first ballots.
Who was it? Joe Thomas?
Joe Thomas and Darrelle Revis.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe Thomas, absolutely, everyone knew he was walking in.
Yeah, it was a given.
Yep, he was the best left tackle for the entirety of his career, most of his career anyway. And he had something ridiculous, like he made a Pro Bowl almost like 9 years straight or something like that.
Correct.
Playing for the Browns, no less. So he deserves to be in. There were reviews he got in. Congratulations to him. I didn't think he was going to make first ballot, but I think the reason why he probably did is because during his era, he was truly maybe the most dominant cornerback of his era. And I think before him, apart from Deion Sanders, we hadn't seen a cornerback play that well like Deion did during those heydays. So he reminded them about the throwbacks, and that's how he got it. Plus, he has a Super Bowl championship as well, so he actually did win a ring. So,
I don't think that has as much of a impact when it comes to the other position. I think it's mainly a quarterback thing that they use that as a...
Yeah, it's true, but I think it also counts in a way because sometimes when people want to detract you, because think about, like, when they go to the process, right, there are people that actually argue for you not to be included in there. And someone could make a huge argument like, you didn't win a ring.
If you look at it, 7 times Pro Bowl, 4 times first team All Pro. You're going to get there.
I mean, Darrelle Revis was a technician, man. Like, I think I remember for the longest time he was the best corner in the league. He locked down the majority of people, and it was effortless. You know, like I said, Revis Island was a real thing. It wasn't a joke. Like, he would take you away from the game, and there are corners that have long stretches where they, or even short bursts where they're like extremely good, consistent, but that dominating, it's rare. I mean, ask Jalen Ramsey. He's not going to be named in the same breath as Darrelle Revis now. You know, he was able to be hot for maybe 2-3 seasons, but Darrelle Revis kind of did it the whole length, you know, and at a high level.
That's why when it comes to DB play, I always say this to young cornerbacks, especially in the NFL. I always say this, and that's the thing. When you come into the league, learn technique. Because in the NFL, every wide receiver is fast. Like in college, you could get by with your athleticism, but once you get to the pros, even as a rookie, learn technique. And I think that's one of the most impressive things about Pat Surtain and Sauce.
Did you see Surtain's? Did you see Surtain's INT in the Pro Bowl? It was pure from a technician point of view. It was pure because he went into the drop back. Technique. It's flag football, but the thing is when you can look at it even more because they're not looking about hits or anything like that. It's purely ball hawking. All right, so I looked back, and every single year, only 5 from the Hall of Fame eligible go in every single year. Only 5.
You mean first time?
No, 5 as in go in. As in,
Oh, 5 players.
Yeah, so not the people who are beyond
Media.
eligibility.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got, so this year, like Chuck Howley went in, Joe Klecko went in, Ken Riley went in, but they weren't considered modern era, like in the modern, for this eligibility. So the ones that went in was Rondé Barber, Darrell Reeves, Joe Thomas, Zach Thomas, and DeMarcus Ware. Now, Zach Thomas was in his last year of eligibility, I think.
I think that he had to get in. It was either now or never.
Yeah.
Because it is 15 years, the eligibility, isn't it? It's not 20.
Yeah.
So that was his last season.
A long time. When you said Klecko, reminded me on one of my favorite NFL moments was when the Colts color commentator, I think, when you guys played the Patriots in that championship game and Dan Klecko scored a touchdown. I was like, touchdown, Dan Klecko.
Now,
that was a very...
So DeMarcus Ware was a second ballot Hall of Famer. Everyone thought he probably should have been.
That's a travesty.
Now,
listen, I really want to know.
I think. So next year, guess who is going to be knocking on that door?
Julius Peppers?
Yeah, exactly.
He got to be a first ballot. I mean,
so if he's going to be a first ballot, he's going to be a first ballot, you'd think.
Probably Julius Peppers going to have to wait for the Hall of Fame. Yes, he didn't win a Super Bowl, but man, he was one of the most dominant pass rushers in NFL history.
Yeah, he was 3-time first team All Pro.
3 times first team All Pro, 3 times second team, 9 times Pro Bowl. He was been in the All Decades teams
for 2 decades. For 2 decades.
For 2 decades.
Hey, he was one of my favorite players that got me into the NFL because he was dominant.
Now, the only thing I'll say is no offensive position player got in this year. Again.
So, you're right. The wide receiver logjam is real.
It is insane. Because these guys are going to have to keep... if you look at it, so...
Hines Ward didn't get in. Who else we got? Anquan Bolden. Well, he can't get it anyway.
The thing is, here's the thing.
You got Andre Johnson waiting. You got you've got Andre Johnson waiting. You've got Reggie Wayne waiting. You've got was it Holt waiting? You've got a few of these guys.
It's weird. They didn't even
might put them all in one go.
This year, did they?
But you only put 5 in. That's the thing.
They might have to put them all in one go. It's gonna get that bad. I don't see how you don't let Reggie Wayne, Andre. One of these guys is going to be making a video where they're going to be in tears saying, "This disrespected me again, and they did it like this."
So you look at so you look at who's eligible next year, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
From an offensive point of view, Antonio Gates,
tight end.
All right, hold on a second. Yeah, before I make a decision on Antonio Gates, let me check this out. Right, and the reason why I'm gonna check this out before I make a decision, right? So Shannon Sharp was a 3-time Super Bowl champion, 4-time first team All Pro. Antonio Gates was 3-time first team All Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler. Shannon Sharp was 8-time Pro Bowler, second team All Pro. And Shannon Sharp had to wait. Antonio Gates is gonna wait.
He's not going to be first. He's like.
Oh no!
The one thing about Antonio Gates had was that longevity. He when he was old, he was still producing. He wasn't getting
He
like
was.
high levels of targets, in the last 2 seasons. But if you look at like when he was 36, he had 95 targets, and
He was, but I think it's gonna wait. I think right now in terms of tight ends, right? Apart from Tony Gonzalez getting first ballot, I think 2 current play. Well, 1 is retired now, but we know these
he's going to
2
be
are
going
definitely
in.
walking in.
So
Wrong.
Gronk and Kelsey are walking in.
Yeah, we know those
the
2 are
caliber
definitely.
of tight end. Yeah, that first ballot.
Now, do you know what the funny thing is? Is that, like, say for example, players waiting. Say for example, Jason Kelsey wins the Super Bowl. He retires this year. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer,
Absolutely.
right? So then you'd have and JJ Watt, first ballot Hall of Famer. He would walk in. Tom Brady, first ballot Hall of Famer. He is walking in, right? That's 3 in one class.
I know what you're about to say.
All these guys who are waiting. That's going to be a problem.
Wait, hold on. wait. Imagine, yeah. I know he's not gonna do it because of his ego thing, right? But if he didn't have the ego
Aaron
thing,
Rodgers, imagine he retires. That's the first ballot
that's
Hall
what
of
I'm
Fame.
saying. That's 4. That's 4 in one class.
That's 4
Then
in
we
one
need
class.
a 5th. Then that means that year anybody else needs to give up because you got 5 guys that are just walking in right now. Like you might as well just give up. Like you're going in. You see,
And this is
we
why
only
this
got
logjam
3.
is it's just insane.
You only got 3 that's walking in, right? And the thing is, yeah, I gotta say, I think maybe DeMarcus were pissed off somebody because I was so sure that he was going in last year that he didn't go in first ballot, and I'm sure he pissed off a reporter or something because remember these are voted by reporters and stuff like that. So when someone has an Instagram review, they find a way to make you not get in on your first try. DeMarcus Ware should have been in last year.
So you look at. All right, I'm going to ask you a question. Vinatieri, do you think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer as a kicker?
For me, he is.
In my opinion,
but-
he is because he was the very definition of
I
clutch.
agree.
He is, but like you said, Dilly, it just depends on who's up. You know what
I mean, when is Vinatieri eligible?
He is eligible 2020. It's in 2 years' time.
Like I'm looking at this list here of people,
And you look
that
who's
are,
eligible in 2 years' time? So let's read out that list because we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, but we're having this chat about, right? So Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list, right? People that are eligible right now, yeah. And there's some great players that are gonna have to wait for quite some time. Like I'm looking at Jaron Allen, he's good. like I'm looking at this list, and there's some great players that are still waiting. Like,
do you know what?
Every year,
Mhm.
more and more great players get added to the list for the first time.
You look at, all right, let me put it this way. Luke Kuechly is the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely, I agree, absolutely.
And the reason why I say this, you look at, he played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons, right? At linebacker. And 5 of those seasons, he was first team All Pro.
First team All Pro.
He won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and then he won Defensive Player of the Year.
The following year,
The following year, and he has 5 first team All Pros and 2 second team All Pros. That's a walk in.
Yeah.
And apart from his rookie year, he was a 7-time straight Pro Bowl.
And like I said, so Vinatieri, Kuechly in that year. Other players in that year.
Eli?
Eli.
Marshawn Lynch won't get in, but Eli. Well, he'll get in at some point, but not
I don't think Lynch gets in.
I think Lynch will wait for a while.
Darren Sproles is a shame he won't. Terrell Suggs.
To be honest,
How long?
No, Terrell Suggs won't get in, I don't think. If you look at so you've got people who are eligible that year. Marshall Yanda.
He is. I'll put him in first ballot because he was one of the best guards in the league for a long time.
Marshall Yanda was his 2-time All-Pro. First team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-time second team.
2007 to 2019.
5-time second team All-Pro. He was like the second best lineman in the league of that position.
Yeah. No, I think as a guard, he'll probably get in.
I'm surprised. Like, wow. Yeah, you're right. T Sizzle making first, but I'm just looking at T Sizzle's career, and I'm like,
nah, he's not, man.
He's not.
Luke Kuechly's getting in before he does. Navarro Bowman.
No. I know. But what I'm saying is, as good as T Sizzle was, and he's eventually gonna make the Hall of Fame. When you look back on his career, you're like, could he have done so much more?
Yeah. I'm just looking 206, Maurice Pouncey, Drew Brees, Frank Gore.
Oh,
that's a good one. You've got Julian Edelman. No.
Okay, here's my question. Dilly, you might know this. I don't know if you know this or not.
Mike and Maurice Pouncey are eligible the same year.
Like, for instance, I don't know why he never filed his papers though. Like, he hasn't played in like what for a long time.
Oh, Thomas?
Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, Larry Fitz.
He hasn't played since 2020, and he never like. I don't know what
he's retired though.
For, like...
But the thing is, they don't go based upon when they filed their papers. I think it's based upon when they last played a game.
When you last played the game, okay. So
that's my understanding.
When is he? How long do you have to wait till you're eligible when you retire?
He's eligible 2026. You have to wait 5 years.
Yeah, because T.O. never officially retired, did he? He didn't say I'm retired. He just never.
So
played.
You look at that year. You've got Marquise Pouncey, Drew Brees. So Drew Brees is going to get in first ballot, you'd think.
Drew Brees, yeah, definitely. He's getting in first ballot.
Larry Fitz, maybe not. And the reason why I say this is wide receiver logjam.
If anybody's going to break it, it's going to be Larry Fitz. Though. If anybody's going to break
if they haven't put in a wide receiver by 2026, something is significantly wrong.
No, but if they haven't, believe you me, he's going in first ballot. And the reason why I say that is because you know how they have this thing about if you've been a good guy for most of your career and you haven't really been in the crosshairs of the media.
Yeah, but neither was Reggie Wayne. And he's a top 10 wide receiver on stats.
Well, I mean, if you put them to...
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think Reggie Wayne has... The reason why he isn't in the Hall of Fame right now? Number 88.
Marvin?
Because Marvin was also on the team for half of his career.
So or, you know, from that.
I don't think he benefited in the sense that first team, like, you know, we talk about all pro selections, right?
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne doesn't have a lot of them. He has all the stats in the world, but he doesn't have. He has one first team all pro.
Same as Larry Fitz, and they both have two second team all pros, both of them. Him and Larry Fitz. They've had this relentless level of production. Exactly, but here's why I think Fitz takes the edge, right? Okay, so Larry Fitz was
an Arizona Cardinal, right? That's why.
He was 11 times Pro Bowler, right? Put it that way. So he was 11 times Pro Bowler. And in terms of touchdown production, 82 to 121. I mean,
I know the thing is, what we're saying is a wide receiver needs to get in by the time Larry Fitz gets eligible.
Oh yeah. I know. From now to then,
There
wide
has to
receiver
be
going to
people.
get it back. But like I said,
They can't just
Fitz
keep
is
putting
doing the best, but
like
I
defensive
don't
players
think.
and offensive linemen, and that's it. That's the problem. Right. There we have our chat about the Hall of Fame and the award ceremony. Now, the superb owl, as our predictive text loves to call it, otherwise known as the Kelsey Bowl.
Yep.
Mama Kelsey gonna be there in her half and half jersey. You're allowed it if you're a
Yeah.
parent of a team of kids who have. That's the only time half and half anything is allowed.
Yeah.
Because half and half scarves are horrific, but when your kids play for both teams, it's okay.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot to decipher in this game. Now, the over-under is, what, 50.5? So it's expected to be high scoring.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask Peter first. What do you think the key to this game is?
Okay, so for me, the number one key to this game is Eagles pass rush, Chiefs pass protection. Like I said, it's going to come down to the trenches again, because we saw in the playoffs the Eagles can unleash a hellacious pass rush, especially Hassan Reddick has become their key, pass rusher over the playoffs. And it's how Hassan Reddick is going to play this game, how he's going to match up with the Chiefs right tackle, because we know he's going to rush from the left-hand side. So are the Chiefs going to be able to have enough adequate protection for Patrick Mahomes to be able to play and dink and dunk? I wouldn't say dink and dunk, but move the ball and go on long drives to score the touchdowns. Because one of the things that Mahomes' game has evolved this year is that they can protect him long enough to make those throws to Kelsey, to make those stick-by-stick throws.
Mm-hmm.
So can the Chiefs pass protect, and can the Eagles' deep defensive line and the pass rushers get to Mahomes? Because I think 2 years prior, I think there's a team that showed a similar template, and that's how they beat Mahomes. The Bucks.
And they just didn't allow him to. Now, I was watching Jeff Reinebold earlier, like in the afternoon, and he said, how many quarters do you think of Super Bowl play that Patrick Mahomes has played well?
1 quarter, fourth quarter.
One quarter, yeah. No, fourth quarter of his winning Super Bowl. That was it. Out of the 2 games.
Yeah, fourth quarter. Yeah. Fourth quarter.
Because he didn't play well against the Bucks. Because they got.
No, he didn't. But then that game, he didn't have protection at all. Against the 49ers in that Super Bowl, the first 3 quarters he played horrible. But the fourth quarter,
he turned it on. Now, the thing about this game is Chiefs, they're good against the run defensively.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this last week. Bengals and Chiefs were both good against the run. So, the week before last, I mean. And we know that the entirety of, if the Eagles start slinging the rock all the time, I think Kansas City have a very good chance of winning this game. You've got to control the game. Time of possession. You've got to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got to run, and it's going to be down to the trenches and how Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Mailata, how they all generate holes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I think to echo what Pete said, it's going to come down to the trenches. The thing is with our pass rushes, it doesn't stop. This isn't like as when we have 1 or 2 guys in there, that's when it's heat. No, it's going to be like that the whole game because we can rotate players and keep it going. So it's going to be up to that offensive scheme to try and get the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands super quick. I don't think his ankle is going to be that much of an issue. I think, if the
Could be
game,
an issue if somebody lands on it.
yeah, or if we force him out on bootlegs, then yeah, but he's not about like he knows what he's doing at QB. He's just going to get rid of the ball and throw it into the stands. But we need to get him out in first down. We can't allow him to, because if you allow him to stay on the field, he'll just work that ball down the field. It may not look pretty, but he's going to work his way down the field. Now, Travis Kelce, this game might have to do some blocking, like some real blocking, because we're going to be able to send guys. So that's going to be interesting to see defensively.
But the thing is, Pacheco isn't bad in blocking, is he?
No, he's not. But against our front, like, it's not like you're having to block the Bengals. Like, this is a different animal. Like, our guys don't mess around. So it's going to be interesting to see. One thing I say is, when you give a team 2 weeks to play, when you give defensive coordinators 2 weeks to prepare, things change. Okay? So I think it's not going to be as easy as people think for both sides to move the ball, because usually defensive coordinators, the only game where they really get a chance to prepare is the game after the bye week and the season opener, because they've got the whole of the preseason, all of that to prepare for that one game, and they take it week by week. Teams don't look ahead. They don't say, all right, we've got this team today. Well, I'm actually going to do some prep for a game 3 weeks from now. That's not how they do it. It's week by week. So we saw this happen with the Bucs back when Kansas City played the Bucs, and Todd Bowles set up that incredible defensive scheme that was able to limit Kansas City Chiefs and had them dumbfounded the whole game. The thing is, Gannon is not, I don't think he's as good as Todd Bowles as far as a defensive mind, but he's a young mind. And if given the time, this is going to be the true litmus test. If he pulls off something unique in this Super Bowl, this could land him his head coaching job heading into like the next few seasons. So I think even though everyone is predicting a high scoring game, I think one team is going to get into the 30s.
Are we going to get a Philly special style play in this game?
If anyone's going to do trickery, I think both these teams are capable of that. Both of these offensive minds are sort of capable of doing something unique and crazy.
I just had a thought.
Do you know what?
We might get that, and that might just take the game.
Yeah, before you get onto that,
you don't know. Pacheco might throw the ball down the field.
They said that was it once in training, Patrick Mahomes did this throw like behind his back, and it went that way on a line, on a rope, and everyone's like, how on earth do you do that? I can't even reach behind my back.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about deception and trickery. It's
I even hurt myself doing that.
Hand.
How?
Yeah, it's getting the ball into someone's hand.
So hold on. Well, okay, so here's the thing. How mad would you be if, let's say, and would you say he was rubbing you guys' nose in it? If Andy Reid calls the Philly special and the Chiefs score a touchdown?
I think that's going to be one of those where they're in the press conference and they're smirking, or when they walk off the sideline and they like
no.
If
it happens in the game, would you be pissed off that he's kind of like rubbing you guys' nose in it? If it did and actually worked and it's going to touch.
I mean, I'd be a bit pissed off, to be honest. That's something he probably would try the first snap of the game.
Do you know,
just to sort of loosen up.
But you know, the funny thing is that
loosen up
people have talked about. They tried to say, Nick Sirianni got let go by Andy Reid. They try to dig that, make that kind of story, and everyone's just like, it was so long ago. Come on, like you're digging into like.
But also, they're both their own man now, so
that's the thing.
People need to understand, like, Andy Reid was coming in as a new coach. He was coming with his own staff, so it wasn't like
you're going to bring in your own guys. That's how it is.
Exactly. So it wasn't like he was working for Andy Reid and Andy Reid fired him. No, Andy Reid was coming in with a new.
But do you know the intriguing thing is, I looked at Sirianni's career. That set him back 4 years.
Well, but it pushed
Do you know why?
It put
Do you know why it set him back 4 years? Do you know why it set him back 4 years? Because if you look at like his job, you know, like the job progression of like you go from quality control, but yada 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 yada, and he got to quarterbacks coach, and then the next team he went back like 3 levels, and he had to make those steps again.
But he's in the Super Bowl.
But now he's in the Super Bowl, so maybe that did him some good. So
yeah, I'm hoping that the script I've seen for this game reigns true, and we take it 36-32. But I don't.
If it's a high scoring game, no, I don't think your ticket could deal with that. I don't think your heart could deal with a high scoring game.
No, I don't. It'll be stressful. We need to have this game decided heading into the 4th. So, but it's just
is it ever decided heading into? You're talking.
Not against Mahomes.
You're talking Tampa Bay. You're talking Tampa Bay levels of obliteration. Is that what you need for your heart?
I think it was their defense that did the job. You know, they just had that cover 2 shell that was just impenetrable.
But the thing about him now is he knows, but he knows how to deal with that now.
Yeah,
he does. But here's the thing, though. He does. But here's the thing.
If you have time.
My question is this. Yes, but my question is this: is Andy Reid gonna change his way of playing? We've seen it in the playoffs, and I hope it carries on. Which is like now
take what's on offer.
To run the football.
Yeah.
In a cover 2.
Well, yeah.
Exactly to get because in that Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, part of it was Andy Reid's stubbornness. Like he just refused to run the football. He didn't want to change. And it was like, look, bro, listen, you gotta get him out of the cover 2 by running the football. Because if you start running the football, you start getting yards. I think the issue with
but also I think the issue with Tampa Bay back then is you couldn't run on them. You just could, irrespective. That's why they put Tampa cover 2 because it doesn't matter whether you overload
it. Personnel thing because their safeties were downfield. They weren't helping in the run defense. They literally were able to stop him with 4 in the box.
Yeah, but they could stop it with 4 guys. Yeah.
So my question is this, right? You guys understand to break down cover 2
is also the threat
of the run game.
Yeah, correct.
Here's the thing. Even if the run is not going anywhere, is the threat of the run. Because let's say if you have a series where you're actually trying to run a football, you're not getting through, you could fake a run and instantly get somebody loose because the defense
and then Kelsey's loose in the
coming.
Yeah,
exactly. Like
defenses have to respect the run. They have
to. For instance, the Patriots for years when they had Tom Brady, right? They couldn't run the football properly. But what did the Patriots do? They would play action, right? And
they're done. And then they check down to James White. And how many catches did he have in that Super Bowl?
They'll fake the run so much. Even before James White, this was during when they used to battle with Peyton Manning and stuff, right? They'll fake the run so many times, and even it got at the time. I think Shannon Sharp was pissed. I was like, I don't know why teams keep buying into this. They're faking the run all the time, and you guys believe they're gonna run the football. No, they are not. It's a fake. They can't run. But if you, and I think Brady got so good at faking the run, and even Peyton did it sometimes when the coach couldn't run the football. It's like when you're so good at faking it, linebackers will bite. Like it's just so good at the way you do it. So the Chiefs need to understand that Philly's got a good defense. If the run game is not even working, we're getting 3 yards, 2 yards. Just run it a little bit. Don't just consistently lean on the pass game because.
All right. So the way I see this game is one team is more all-rounded than the other, but one team has Patrick Mahomes,
the ultimate equalizer.
Now, the thing is. Let's put this scenario out there. Eagles get down 10 points early in the game. So they're down 10 or 14, right? They're down two scores. How does that change the game plan? Because the run game is your strength. It is effectively how they control this game. Now, we know that the Chiefs secondary isn't the greatest, but it's full of rookies, and it's full of rookies who are fearless.
Yep.
How do you feel that scenario will play out? Well,
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to. The thing is, in order to protect the rookies, you're gonna have to disguise a lot of coverages. So you're gonna have to give Jalen Hurts things that he hasn't seen before. Whether
Spags
that's
is going to have to
motion.
dial up some stuff.
Yeah, dial up some interesting formations, especially. You're gonna have to You're gonna have to confuse his eyes, because one of the things he's improved on is pre-snap reads. So you're gonna have to confuse him, and I reckon that's probably that's what's gonna sort of how can I say, fool him into sort of perhaps making a few throws, maybe if an INT or a turnover, or he throws the ball too late and it gets tipped. That being said, what Jalen Hurts will do to respond to that is he'll take matters into his own hands. So this is the type of game where you put your body on the line. So I would not be surprised if things aren't going the way our offense is. If our offense is not gelling, he's going to do what he did in the third quarter against the 49ers, and he's going to start running the ball. And that's when things really open up for us. Because Jalen Hurts is not just.
Do you think Jalen Hurts breaks the Super Bowl record for rushing?
I don't think, because we're a well-balanced team, I don't think he's going to look. If he comes out the gate running the ball, then he might do it.
Do you know what the record is?
Yeah.
64 yards.
He can definitely do it if he comes out the gate running the ball. But if he starts late, like in the third quarter, when things aren't going to plan, I mean, that's when I can see him perhaps getting maybe 50 yards, but that's what you need. You know what I mean? And I think, yeah, I mean, injury or not, like, you sort of leave it all out in the field, because you may never get back to this game. So I think he's got no issue sort of, letting his hands go, letting his legs go. And I think that's going to be the deciding factor. He is a devastating runner. And I think he's going to lay it all on the line, because he knows that if he wins this Super Bowl for Philly, like, he's immortalized. Like, this is more than just I won one for the team. No, financially, he's going to be set heading into next year. Most likely, he's probably going to get a statue at some point. Because that's how
Nick
it is.
Foles going to get a statue?
I mean, Nick Foles is the statue with Doug Peterson whispering in his ear, the Philly special. That's literally that's how much we're starving for a hero, because Rocky's a fictional hero. You know what I mean? But we're looking for like real heroes that actually did something. So,
right, fictional or not, he's part of Philadelphia now.
He is part of Philadelphia. He is part of the fabric of Philadelphia.
He's the spirit of Philadelphia. So I think that's what I'm saying. Jalen Hurts has to be prepared to run this ball, because he's the guy that's going to be unaccounted for.
Yeah, and he's got to make his reads correctly, because otherwise he's going to get hit. And he's not fully fit, but I think a lot of that's kidology. He should be back to 100% by now.
Yeah, he should be back. Yeah. I think it was more of a case of it's still there, but he hasn't overcome any doubts he has. So I think he's healed, but it's just in his head, he's got to feel that confidence and be like, no, I'm back 100%. All
right, predictions time. I'm going to ask Peter to give his prediction first.
Oh, this game is so good. I'm a neutral. And I'm just hoping for a good game whereby there's defensive stops, there's some touchdowns, not too many, not crazy, like
not too many touchdowns. Defense, come on, no.
Okay, wait, I'm a defensive guy at heart, so like I'm just thinking, okay, eventually the winner is like a 28-24, but it's a game with like lots of action type of thing. So 28-24 still gives you a good touchdown production.
So you're taking the over and the over under. Because the over under is 50.5.
Like 28-24 type of a game, gives you stuff. And this is kind of like a head versus a heart type thing. I like both teams. I like the way the Eagles built their roster, I like Patrick Mahomes and the things that he's doing. I'm gonna go 28-24. This is literally, I've never done this before, but I'm gonna do it today, live on our stream. So, well, I need you to call it heads or tails.
I'm gonna go tails.
Wait a
Okay.
minute.
So,
You're flipping a coin.
yep, live on the
Take the
show.
easy way out.
Oh my lord.
I'm gonna flip the coin. It
Tails.
says heads, so I'll go with the Chiefs 28-24. Just a flip on the coin. But
Okay.
I'm
Fair
He
gonna
took
enough.
the cop out. He took the cop out. He let the
Easy
coin
way
decide
out.
his fate. All right, Will.
No, because I love both teams.
I know,
can't
but it's
decide,
not
so
about
just
who
let
you
the coin
like. It's who
decide.
you think's gonna win. You have to
Yeah,
put your line in the sand. I think Will's gonna say the
Okay,
Eagles
okay,
are
okay.
gonna
okay.
win, but
If I draw a line in the sand, I'm gonna go Eagles because I want my boy Hassan Reddick to get a Super Bowl. And everything come full circle for him because he's a Philly native. He played for my Cardinals. We misused him, but he's found his way in his NFL future, and I think it will come full circle for him to win his first Super Bowl.
all right. So
in
you're
the city
saying
that he got
Eagle.
started.
You're actually saying Eagles. The coin decided the Chiefs. So your head is
But I'm
in.
gonna say Eagles 20,
All right.
28-24.
Will.
I think I posted up already. Travis Kelce has been telling fans, do not put jerseys, do not put memorabilia, do not defecate the
You
Rocky.
do realise that somebody is
statue.
putting, there's probably a Philly fan who's just been putting opposition jerseys on there.
I mean, he did it during
No,
the
it
day,
wasn't
so it
Chiefs
might have been a
fans,
Philly
bro.
fan. I mean, that's something you do at night because if someone
No,
catches you doing that in
it
Philadelphia,
probably
you
is a
might
Philly. It
get.
probably is a Philly fan. Like that.
But-
That was a joke that I gave on the you guys haven't been to doing it yourself just to keep this keep the team out, City and the team angry.
Keep the team angry, yeah. So I think once that was done, it was fated. Obviously, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this. I think on paper we are the better team all round. Just like Pete said, they have the ultimate equalizer in Patrick Mahomes, so you can never doubt him. But like I said, I just want it to be a really good game. I don't want the referees to ruin this one.
Oh no! Do you know what the thing was?
players.
Like you put it in, like I said last week. Last year, the refs stayed out of it.
Yeah.
Until the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
They need to stay out of it for the entire
They need
time.
to stay out of this one. You got to let guys battle down the field.
Unless
DB
it's egregious. Unless it's
Yeah, this is
egregious.
egregious, yeah. But if the DB is pushing and tugging, what's the receiver doing? I say that now, but watch one of our receptions get to pull back. But you've got to let these guys fight down the field. You've got to let the D line fight. You've got to let the O line
right.
fight.
Uh,
If it's happening away from the play, don't call the flags. Let it play out.
me, milkshake in hand. Everything is telling me the Eagles are going to win this game. In my head. So I'm going for the
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Ooh.
Wow.
And the reason why is nothing. It's not. It's not logic that is telling me this. It's. I think it's finally time for Patrick Mahomes to actually perform well in a Super Bowl.
Okay.
This is a legacy Super Bowl for him.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say this is it's his third. How many of the quarterbacks who have reached 3 have lost, top level? Peyton won. Which ones did he win?
2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but he won the first, lost the second.
Won the third. No, lost the third, won the fourth.
Lost the third, won the fourth.
Yeah.
So
I'd say there's merit to that. There's merit to
Now-
experience,
yeah. Now,
having the mental fortitude to know.
but the
what
thing
it
is,
means.
the third and the fourth were with the Broncos, right? That was well down his career. Now, you think about it is we know that the AFC is ridiculously stacked. If the Bills actually sort their headspace out, they should be in the but at the moment they're not at that level of the Bengals and the Chiefs in terms of being clutch all the way through. So, and they've been to the AFC Championship 5 years in a row and hosted it every single year. I think it's time that he does this, but the thing is, obviously the ankle is going to be a question mark. But if him and Kelsey get on a roll, I don't think there's anything you guys can do. Because if he dunks it to Kelsey and Kelsey keeps getting 8 yards, they're winning the game. Because he doesn't even need to. What was it? Somebody said a stat. How of Justin Herbert, complete sidetrack. How many of Justin Herbert's touchdown passes were more than 1 air yard this year? It's a ridiculous percentage, low. And Patrick Mahomes can beat you that way as well. He doesn't need to sling it down the field. He can literally just pass it to the guy and they can get the yards. They're capable of doing it that way.
Absolutely. I think this season, you mentioned a very good point. I think that's why a lot of people talked about how he's even better than before, because he's now really maturing into the game, whereby he's now Pat Mahomes is understanding the game better in the sense that there's multiple ways that they can beat you, because the Chiefs' offense evolved from that, having the ability to have the quick strike touchdown, because they didn't have Mahomes, they have Tyreek Hill, who was a big part of that. So they had to evolve into marching down the field and literally drive, going first down to first down, and they've been successful able to do that this season, and that's improved the game massively, in a way. So, what's your score prediction?
I'm gonna go with the Philadelphia Eagles winning this 34-32.
So you're going at extremely high scoring.
34-32.
I'm going 30-27 Harrison Butker to kick it at the end.
Okay, like I said, 28-24 Eagles, and if it goes that way, Hassan Reddick, 3 sacks, Super Bowl MVP.
Now, if he hits 3, he's definitely getting it.
Including 2 forced fumbles. Wait, I'm going to be bold. Bold prediction. Hassan Reddick, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles.
3 forced fumbles, that is bold.
Just the one will be all right.
There is
two forced fumbles.
Have you noticed, that most of his sacks, he's coming for the ball. He's not really looking at hitting the quarterback. He's trying to get the ball out. Do you see why I did that Daniel Jones in the divisional round? Do you see why I did the Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
Was it Daniel Jones?
Peanut.
Which quarterback did he literally rip the ball off his hand?
Yeah.
He literally sacked him and ripped the ball off his hand. And
terrorizing. Well, I don't know. Pat Mahomes doesn't let the ball get ripped out of his hands easy. But
if
he pulls it off.
Yeah, if he pulls it off, then hey, that'll be curtains certainly
one of the all-time great defensive performances.
But
okay, this is a bit of a sidetrack run. Dilly, quick question. Peyton, since he retired, we've seen him be a bit more associated with the Broncos in terms of post-retirement and some of the things that he's done. Do you think he still harbors a bit of a
because
about how it ended
because whenever I think he's more understated with his appearances in Indianapolis.
Okay.
It feels like it, but then there are times where I think was it when we had like Ring of Honor ceremonies and stuff like that, and it had Reggie Wayne, Jeff Saturday, Peyton Manning. Like he comes back to all of that. It's not like he has animosity in terms of that, and he can, whenever he wants to be there, he's basically there for like he's in the owner's box. He's basically he can turn up whenever he wants, kind of thing. Like it's his house, kind of like. And have you realised that whenever the Colts are on Monday night, there's never a Peyton and Eli broadcast?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Never, because he doesn't generally talk about the teams that he played for.
Yeah.
Generally, right? Like in game, he doesn't, because he gets annoyed when he sees bad play clock management, bad QB play. But when he's played for that team as well, like it's even bigger. Whereas I think Eli can kind of disconnect a little bit more, even though he played for the Giants his entire career.
Yeah. But then Eli doesn't go to the Giants that much either now as well.
But he still lives in the area.
Yeah. But he just keeps his distance a little bit.
Yeah, but I kind of respect that in a certain way, because I don't want to overshadow things.
Yeah.
Because when you've like, it's a little bit different. Like Jerry Rice, whenever he's in the 49ers game, he's like the biggest cheerleader more than anything else.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, he is.
He's not there as a overbearing kind of thing. It's more of just, it's a cool factor kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, only because, like for instance, like, and I think maybe the Denver thing could be due to his relationship with Elway, because Elway is a big part of
Correct.
him ending in Denver and also having that great relationship with John Elway over the years. So, that probably could be a big part of it.
Yeah, it's a different dynamic, but hey, that's how it is. Aside from that is the Super Bowl preview and NFL Honors show all good and complete. We will be back midweek. Well, early in the week, to discuss everything about Super Bowl 57.
We're doing a live stream tomorrow.
To be determined.
The game?
To be determined. We may or may not be returning for a live stream. We will let you know. But if not, we will be back on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever we will post out. And until then, may everybody enjoy the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And we'll catch everyone on the flip side. It's goodbye from myself, goodbye from Will, goodbye from Pete.